Hello and welcome. It's Tuesday, 12:30, and what a beautiful, magnificent day it is, and made even more magnificent by you coming to this incredible show. This wonderful show where we're so pleased to share each week with my different special guests on the Mindset Michelle TV show, how you in your life can create a mindset for success. So welcome. And today's special guest is the extraordinary Maree Thomas. Now, Maree, for those of you that don't know her, has an incredibly successful background over many years of bringing herself and all of her best characteristics to different areas of being successful. Whether that's from at the age of 19 starting her own business, or to 21 of buying her first property, all the way through to running and leading different organisations like property management, to now with her extraordinary business in financial, spiritual, and all of the different areas of coaching to help empower you to be the best you. So welcome, Maree.
Thank you, Michelle. It's so special to be here on your show. You're someone who I've got a lot of respect for, and I really believe in the work that you're doing right now.
Yeah. Thank you. And I know that people watching and listening will be really interested in what we have shared so far about you, that you had such incredible success in the financial world, but that's also coupled with, you've studied under masters like Robert Kiyosaki and Louise Hayes and some of the transpersonal or personal transformation world as well. So you've got both of those elements. Do you want to share a little bit about your history and explain to people how you managed and how Maree came about with those two areas?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, yeah, my background was financial planning and property development. So I guess I was really good at that job. I put my whole self into it. I went at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I remember at one point going and working for a large organisation, and they brought somebody in to work out what I was doing. They said, how can this girl be doing all of this? And this person reported back and said, look, she's doing 3 full-time jobs. We don't know how she's doing it, but she's doing it, and she's doing them brilliantly. And I guess that's sort of what my life has been, that when I take something on, I take it on with absolute passion and drive, and I'm ready for it. And I think probably, if I'm being really honest with you, it was that I felt inside of me when I was growing up, I think that I wasn't actually good enough. And so all of a sudden, I jump into this business world. I start off in real estate, in property management. At that point, it was a man's world. And there I was, slogging it away, getting it all happening. And I was good at that. And then I went into sales, and I had my own real estate company. And everything was flowing really, really well. And I was proving to myself that I was okay. And then financial planning, all of a sudden this word came on, and I got into financial planning right at the beginning, before it all really started. And so, I worked in that. I helped start the International Association of Financial Planners here in Australia, and I was very involved in it. But I think there was a reality going on. I was so involved in all of those things that I was missing a very important part, only that I didn't know that at the time. I thought I was just doing really good. And then a girlfriend of mine's little girl had an accident, and it was quite a serious accident. And I ended up in the hospital every day and went through a really interesting time in my life. But when it first happened, it made me really think. I was there and I was watching children dying. I was watching people in their sadness, and it was like, oh my goodness, I was at the top of my ladder in the business arena. And, I guess from a female's point of view, sometimes I guess you've got to know twice as much to be considered. I'd played all that game. I'd done all that. I was there. But when all of that happened, I had to ask my own self what was real and what was true with what I was doing. Now, I don't think everybody should suddenly jump out of the work that they're doing, because I think we need key people that are really true in their own beingness to be in these different areas of life, because how's it ever going to change? But for me, I'd been a long time in that work, and I know that I was looking for something a little bit more. And through that journey of going inside of myself and really discovering who I truly was, I started to look at some of the things that had supported me along the way, and things like my meditation. And I started studying more about meditation and what it was about. And the more I learned, the more I just appreciated it and I embraced it. It actually helped me through what I was going through. So I got involved in meditation, and then it was like I'd always been doing yoga on the side as well. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to get more involved in my yoga as well, because it was about, for me, the mind, the body, and the soul. And I'd really worked with the mind, and I'd nourished the mind, and I knew that I had that area handled, but I wanted to get into some of the other areas.
And I can really hear that journey there, where from reaching the pinnacle and getting to the top, and getting to that point where you've reached the pinnacle, you've ticked off all the boxes, you've created a world where you're at the top of the game, but there was still something missing. And I know people will be at different stages in their own journeys, but that point of realizing that there was still something missing must have been really quite profound. What do you think then, how did that influence what you define success as? Because as a self-made millionaire and all of the other outward world kind of things that you created and you were successful in, how does that then transform or change what you define as success then?
I guess the truth of it is that success to me is freedom. It's freedom in my life, and it's that to have choices and to have joy.
Freedom of choices, freedom in those choices to create more joy in your life.
For myself and for others, I've always been someone who's really believed in service. I think it's part of the journey that we're on here. On this earth plane right now is to give as well as receive.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. And I think we'll come back to that as we start to unpack, because I know many people watching at the different points of their own journey will be really wondering how they can create that similar sense of what, gives them freedom, what their choices are, and what brings them joy. So what sort of tips or suggestions would you have for people? They may still be on that corporate ladder, but there's a nagging feeling in there, or they may have already reached the pinnacle or be anywhere in between. What sort of tips for creating that success mindset would you give to people?
Well, one of the things is have fun on that corporate ladder, and really fully appreciate the audience that you're being given, and that the messages that through you can come to your audiences. It's about bridging the two worlds, because here am I, like, how weird is that, from financial planner and working with money and being in that area so intensely, to way over the other side. But I can be a little bit like that, Michelle, because I've got a bit of passion running inside of me, so I can go from one side to the other, to then come back to the center and to realize that, I had a plan and what I really wanted. But look, behind all of that was knowing me more. And that's one of the things that I'd really encourage people in the corporate arena, because sometimes, we go so hard and fast in that area and we forget to stop for a moment. We forget to be still, because inside of us are all the answers. And if we can learn to listen to our own inner guidance, if we can really be true to our own integrity, it's a major key. So we've still got to get the basics handled. We've still got to get, a bit of a financial plan going. But the other things that are really important as well, to heal past hurts, to find out what's important, to really know what your purpose is, and to be able to simply be happy, to wake up in the morning and just feel great because you know what? You woke up. Some people don't.
I really hear your points around, having fun wherever you're at and with whatever you're doing. That inner journey that you and I have talked about quite a lot, especially when working and being around clients in the corporate arena, helping them and supporting them with that journey, inner journey, to understanding where they're at, what's present for them, and unpacking that so that they have that clearer view of where they're going. I really hear that these are great tips for how people can understand themselves, understand where they're at, have fun with it, so it's not as serious and drag. But all of these wonderful points are part of creating that success mindset. I guess one of the other things, given that, there's a lot of change, whether it's COVID or displacement from technology in terms of jobs, there will be something out there at any given time that we're looking at now. What sort of tips around mindset would you suggest to people dealing with some of those large, and sometimes they are quite difficult transitions, whether it's in work or career or whatever it may be? What tips would you give for those people?
To choose to be your best self now. One of the things I've promised myself at this time with COVID is that, I actually want to come out a better person. I'm being given a gift of time right now, and I can focus a little more on that inner journey and get the message, because I think part of this whole situation is about us just slowing down a little bit. We know how to go hard and fast, and we can jump into that whenever we need to. So we can have, our daily to-do list. We can have, our time management diaries, and have all of that. All of that can be supportive, and find out what works for you. But don't forget to embrace your uniqueness. Don't forget to create a plan that actually supports you in your journey and where you want to go.
I really like that whole planning for you in your journey, and obviously with your financial background, you appreciate how important starting with your finances so that you have that plan for where you're going to go in your future. But I really like how the inspiration and what I'm hearing you say, the inspiration for doing all of that comes from this gift during COVID of having time to take those pauses, to spend that time going inside of yourself and, in a sense, getting rid of those outward distractions to then come up with, well, what does that plan look like for me? Because it's different for each person. What is it I want to be doing in my life, and what direction is it going with all of this? What sort of things do you do for fun? Especially, we're all, again, at home at the moment. What do you do for fun to make life interesting?
Do you know what? Sometimes I just put on a song that excites me, a song that just, if I'm sitting here, because I'm on my own, so I'm in my space here, just talking with me. In fact, I start treating myself like a best friend. I'm glad I'm not on one of these reality shows. They might think I'm really, really crazy. But there I go. And I sometimes say, hey, come on, let's go and have a little dance here for a moment. And I'll just dump up sometimes and just be mad Captain Crazy. And sometimes I'll just be so reverent with myself, because I'll stop and I'll just be still and I'll say, hey, I know that there's a wise one inside of me. And it's like, hey, give me a few hints right now. I'm feeling a little challenged. So
I hear you, Maree. I know that for me, journaling is one of the things that gets me through my quiet times.
Yeah.
Because it's when I'm sharing those stories and those thoughts and emotions with myself that it gives me my insights about what's going on, where I'm at, and where I want to be going next in life. And but I love that, put on the music and literally dance while there's nobody looking.
And you know what? And visualize what I want life to be as well. Because things aren't going to be the same as what they used to be. So right now I've got a canvas. And what do I want to put on that canvas?
You're so spot on. That I describe it to myself as that future focus. So whenever I might hear a story or in my mind be talking through something, and or even if I'm talking to somebody like yourself, what I'll do is I'll stop if I see that it's an old pattern of speaking or thinking, and I'll be going, well, actually, no, I've got this time during things that are going on now to think about, well, what do I want in the future? Where am I going in that future? And so to rewrite those patterns and those behaviours into a future focus.
I mean, your thoughts create so much reaction in real life. What you're thinking in here shows up out there. So it's taking time. What am I thinking about? Where am I putting my energy? You know, how can I call it vibrate at the highest frequency? How can I take myself from a place of, if I want to sit and listen to the news 24/7, where it can absolutely take me down, how can I move back up?
Very, very true. It's all, as we know, your energy follows your thought. So if you find that you're having these thoughts and they're kind of looping into negative and news and other things like that, feed that negative loop. And so it's interrupting those patterns and going, well, what's my positive focus? What's my positive thoughts? And it's very human to have negative thoughts and negative feelings, but it's recognizing in this gift that we have of this time, how to stop that and then focus on where you want to be going. And I know that you work with many clients around shifting that energy as well.
Yep.
What do you think has been something that, in terms of a success mindset, you've seen worked with those clients and changing that energy dynamic?
Well, because I'm working, as I said, bridging the two worlds. So I will work with practical tools on one hand. And, you know, I can go through some of the things you know, but we haven't got time to really go fully into those things. But it is along the lines of, like, you know, sort of making your plan, what's stopping you getting it, all those sorts of things. And what areas in your life are really important to you right now, and being able to isolate a few of them, because you can't work on every single area at every moment in the day. You've got to choose a couple and say, okay, what are the areas that are most important to me right now, but still aiming for that balance in life. But on the other side, okay, for me, meditation is so important. To wake up in the morning before you get involved in the chaos of picking up the phone or walking out the door, to just spend some time with myself is such an important thing. And I cannot tell you how important that is, to just be in contact and really have that relationship with that peaceful self. Because if I get out in the chaos, I want that peaceful self to help me. I also want that wisdom to be heard. And if I'm going hard and fast, I can't. Because sometimes, you know, you wake up early in the morning and it's like you're hurrying. The alarm clock's gone off and you've got to do this and you've got to do that. That then goes into the whole day. And all of a sudden you find you're running late, and it's a hassly day and all the rest of it. When I start my day in a calm place, I bring a lot more calm into my life. And you know what? It supports wealth creation. It supports moving forward. It supports knowing where to move and how to move.
And I think you described it so beautifully there, Maree, and so succinctly, around having those tools and those foundations for work and life in the world, if you like, but then also doing that introspection and spending that time to really understand yourself, what you want. And I love how you are sharing about meditation and how that, like having a good breakfast, can set you up for the day. It kind of sets the tempo and the rhythm for your day. And I'd also add in that it's similar for at the end of the day, if you've had a stressful and you've kind of felt like your energy and your world is everywhere, at the end of the day, if you actually, again, write it down in a journal, you can actually close off and then have a sounder sleep than if it's still running around in your mind. Whatever way you use to download everyday life through meditation, through journaling, through exercise, whatever it might be. These are all great tools for how you beautifully put it. You then get more financial success and other types of success because you're more aligned with it. Your energy is more aligned through it.
And a morning and evening ritual is so important. I always create a morning and an evening ritual with my clients because you do have to prepare for sleep. It's, you know, to just be on the computer and then go into bed and just go, boom, I'm going to sleep now. There's a little bit of preparation that needs to lead.
Well, and it's like children, you know, if I always find it funny that we tend to look at children, we do certain traditions and routines with them. But when you talk about doing that similar thing with adults, people look at you a bit strangely. But going to bed at night is a very similar sort of thing. Children, you don't kind of take them from doing their homework and then sticking them in bed and say, go to sleep. There's other stages that they go through before you ask them to go to sleep, whether it's reading quietly or saying their prayers or whatever ritual it might be to help them sleep. And so I think people forget that, you know, inside each of us is still that young child that needs those rituals to help decompress whatever's going on in our lives throughout the day.
You know, Michelle, that's why when I was at the hospital all the time and my little magic Maree came out, I'd always had that part of me that was like the little fairy godmother, because Walt Disney was always a bit of a mentor for me because, you know, he was all about, you know, bringing that child alive, and the human race, ridiculous as it may seem at times, is still reaching for the stars. And I used to just totally, you know, I was walking beside him sometimes with all of that. I really was. And when I was at the hospital and I started to feel into what was needed there, with my little one, I would go in there as the fairy godmother at full hoop, petticoat, tiara, wings, wand. And to this day, I am still going down to that hospital and still working with the seriously injured children. But you know what? Working with the parents to let them know that there's still magic and that their dreams can still come true. So it's to find that little magical part inside of us as well, to really, you know, unite with that child inside, because that child's there to help us a lot.
I agree so much. And I think that, you know, the ability to have fun, to create that clarity, it's very much like becoming that childlike, not childish, but childlike state.
Yeah.
So for people that may not understand it, childish can be some of those behaviours that are a bit more ego-driven or a bit more now I must have it now, whereas childlike is more of that vulnerability and being open and curious about the world. So bringing in more of those types of qualities to really help you what we would say is lean into finding out what's going on for you. And also, I know for myself and for other people I've worked with that have had challenging things in their life, sometimes looking and working through what does it mean to have fun? What does it mean to be childlike? I would really encourage, as Maree's been saying, you know, during this quiet time over COVID, experiment. You know, there is no right or wrong. Just use opportunities like this to really go for it and work out what works for you. So, Maree, if people were thinking about, well, what would Maree, you know, she was successful financially, successful in the business world, and also this great success on the personal transformation space. What would you say to your younger self, given that you've in a sense reached so many different pinnacles and success in your life? Many people I've spoken to, when I've asked this question, you know, there might be one or two types of regrets, but I don't kind of hear that from yourself. But what would you possibly then say to your younger self?
Well, I must admit, yeah, I'm not into regrets, so I can't say that there's any regrets. But if I was talking to my younger self, I'd just say, hey, influence me more. Hey, let's have more fun with what we're doing. Let's just open. And my younger self, that you're not alone and it's okay. We're here. We're doing this together. Sometimes it was a lonely place at different points in time there. And you know what? I was there and I got through it all. So it's great. It's great. So have more fun. That would have to be my bottom line. Just have more fun with whatever you're doing and with the choices that you have in life. Don't take it all so seriously, because do you know what? You've got to be a little bit crazy in this world, because out there it's madcat. It's madcat.
I really like those points around, again, having fun with whatever you're doing. But that idea of self-talk, now, people may notice that when they have a lot of self-talk, it's actually quite negative. But if you, again, we've talked about the childlike state of things. I like to work with my clients and talk to them about how they might speak to a young child. If the young child falls off a bike, you don't kind of yell at them and tell them they were stupid and get back on the bike. You're actually quite kind and compassionate to that child. So treating yourself with that same kind of kindness and compassion, so that
be who you are, be proud of who you are, be integrous to who you truly are, and just be proud of yourself. I tell you what, focus on that. Yeah,
exactly. So that when you have those thoughts that might be, I'm stupid, I'm fat, I'm this, I'm that, I'm whatever, to again think of yourself as that child that you want to change those thoughts towards. So I love that self-talk that you're sharing as something that would be a reminder to your younger self about things that could be changed or developed upon.
Treat yourself as your own best friend.
Yeah.
What would you say to your best friend if she was challenged at that point, or if she was saying some of those terrible things to herself? What would you say to your best friend? And say that to yourself.
Exactly. I also wondered, is there any kind of, I know with some people they have some kind of belief systems that can help them. Do you think that that's important to having a successful mindset, believing in something bigger than yourself, or that you're part of something bigger than yourself?
That is such a personal question, but yes, Michelle, I do believe that it's like in business, you have mentors. It's the same in spiritual, if you want to call it that. For me, when I'm doing my work, I don't refer to any particular God or anything like that, because they're all names. But I do believe that there is an energy there. There is a light that we can tap into, and we are part of that light. And inside of us is a light. And sometimes it's really tiny, and that's when we're going through our hard times. But if we can really focus on that light and make it bigger and know that we are part of the bigger picture, I think that can help a lot.
Yeah, I don't normally go down that track, but I know you so well, and I know that for both of us, working with people, knowing that there's something bigger, whatever that label,
whatever it means for them.
Yeah,
and that's the key. What does it mean for them? Because there's no set rules here.
No. And I think that the reason I wanted to bring it up today is, again, with COVID or with whatever people are going through, wherever they're in their life, they're at in their lives, sometimes, and not for everybody, but sometimes knowing that there's something bigger than them, outside of them, that they can be a part of, whether that's a belief system or whatever, can also bring some sort of comfort on that journey. So in those quiet times when you're looking at, well, this is the financial, etc. plan I need, but this is also the inner work that I need to do to be able to work through my path. Sometimes looking at, well, is there another group of people that are thinking like me, can help? And if not, then again, that's okay. But it's just something to keep in mind. So Maree, if people wanted to get hold of you after today, what's the best way they can contact you?
Well, my email address, do you have, I'm not sure, is that on this somewhere?
So your email address, Your email address is Maree at mareethomas.com.
Yeah, with Maree, M-A-R-E-E, Maree at mareethomas.com. And of course, there's always LinkedIn.
Fabulous. Some people will see this, so they'll see your name, but others won't see your name. So that's why I like to spell it out as well. But thank you. It's been such an absolute pleasure having you on the show today.
My pleasure as well, Michelle. Thank you, everybody, for listening in. And I hope that there's been a little something that you can choose in what we've discussed today that maybe you can just add into your everyday life. I always like to grab something.
Wonderful. It's been such a pleasure having you today, Maree. And to everybody watching, thank you again for joining this week's episode of the Mindset Michelle TV show. It's been our pleasure to share our joy and our insights into creating that successful mindset with you wherever you are in life. And from my heart to your heart, be great, be fabulous, and be you.